Jim Acosta is getting toasted for grotesque interview with AI version of child killed at Parkland massacre. Some call the stunt unethical as well. Former CNN journalist Jim Acosta was criticized widely for recording an interview with an AI reconstruction of a child who was killed in the horrific massacre at Parkland in 2018. Is there anything these people won't do? Is there anything these people will not do to take our Second Amendment rights away? I mean, let me see if I can actually find the. All right. I want you to see this.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
Is there anything these people will not do to get their gun control? There's more with this. And I'm going to show you this stuff because you need to see it. These 6 young people died by gun violence. Now their AI generated voices are sending gun control pleas to lawmakers. Our Queen Oliver's voice echoes through the halls of Congress on the 6th anniversary of his death. It comes from his mother's cell phone outside the office doors of lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The disembodied voice of the 17-year-old who was a student at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School has a message to deliver. Is there anything these people will not do to make gun control? Because I got more. Tracking denied gun sales help prevent tragedies? Experts think so. Each day in Colorado, nearly 14 people who should not legally own a gun try to buy one anyway. As many as 5 of these people each week are recent arrivals from foreign countries whose backgrounds are largely unknown to authorities. A higher percentage have been convicted of felonies or domestic violence charges or are judged by suffering from mental illness. Experts say the gun purchases denials, which are immediately reported to local law enforcement, federal immigration officials, and some prosecutors, could be useful intelligence. It could point officers to people in the state who may bear further scrutiny before being granted access. No one's chatting, SOR. That happens from time to time with me. These people. It happens. Now, I will say this now. This next one. the next one that I have for you, all the links that he talks about are in the description. I put them there for a reason. So let's get into this.
About to hit the floor. What I'm about to show you is the final culmination, the last piece I needed to tie all the gun control of the last 4 to 5 years together in one nefarious action. Everything that we're about to cover is going to be linked in the description box below. I bring the receipts. I encourage you to look at them. But we're going to go through the dark pools of money and individuals that are actually going after gun rights using all the following: George Soros, Open Societies Foundation, Brady United Against Gun Violence, Everytown for Gun Safety, Mexico, and FFL holders. Guys, this one's crazy. And make sure you send this out everywhere, because the only way we beat this stuff is by doing 2 things. One, exposing it to sunlight and letting big accounts see it and decide if they want to cover it. And the second one is hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, because literally you are the lifeblood of this channel. And make sure you guys are doing that so we can keep on fighting for our rights every single day, day in, day out. And keep in mind, every time that you do, you have the opportunity to make a gun controller stub their toe in the middle of the night, groggy, sleepy, boom, big toe, furniture, all day, every day, simply when you hit that subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Oh, and outmaneuver them. Guys, link in the description, 40% off the Vantage plan. Make sure you check it out. Let's turn my notifications off so that doesn't happen again. So last night, I showed you a video that was extremely disturbing of an animated dead school shooting victim.
I just showed you the same video, right before this. There's a reason why this is in order like this.
With Jim Acosta interviewing him like he's alive, right? The entire point was to pull on the emotional heartstrings using technology to reanimate a dead kid to push gun control. And Jim Acosta played along, even though he looks like Rosie O'Donnell right there. All right. So in that, and you guys can check the video, it's last night's, someone sent me a little snippet underneath, and this is why the X is so powerful, at Braden LOA. All right. Non-Fud's Ghost said his dad, Manny Oliver, that's the guy who's the father of the kid who was reanimated, also is on the board of a gun control group that has an office in their own FFL. Now, I found that fascinating, right? So as we continue to go through this, look at all the pieces that fall into place. That's why this is so powerful, okay? Full hat tip to Mom at Arms. That's where the article was cited, and I've done more research on it. Everything is linked. I always bring the receipts. This whole article is about...
And after this video, all this stuff is in the description. Everything. I do that for a reason.
...about a gun control group that's suing the United States, and they have an FFL. That's not the story here. But here's what they said. It's been known for some time that Joshua Sugarman, the executive director of the gun control group, the Violence Policy Center, has an FFL that has been active for years, and AmmoLand also reported on it. Well, as I go into this, it weaved all the pieces of this story together. The Mexico lawsuit, the actors involved, the dark money, the George Soros connection, open societies, all of it, right? It's not about them having an FFL. Here's what they cite the reason for. This is from an AmmoLand article, and I'm connecting all the dots as we build this. Firearms expert in design and manufacture for the purposes of examination and publication of written materials concerning various firearm products. They're going to write hit pieces off of guns they get. Also necessary for activities conducted by license holder on behalf of the Violence Policy Center, of which licensee is executive director. That's the gun control group. Such activities include ability to ship and receive firearms and firearm parts for examination and research in conjunction with expert witness testimony and other research and writing. No firearms or ammunition will be sold. That's the whole thing, okay? This is not about them selling guns. It's about the connections that are exposed through this group. Look, watch this, okay? Here's some of the players. Now, Jonathan Lowy, that name should sound familiar to you, because Jonathan Lowy is the guy who ran the Mexican lawsuit, the $10 billion against the gun manufacturers that was just thrown out by the Supreme Court a couple months ago. He's the guy that ran it. I'm going to show you everything you need to see on this. Listen to this. Jonathan Lowy has been bringing, litigating, and winning and trailblazing impactful lawsuits and advocating for gun violence prevention for 25 years. He has litigated in trial and appellate courts for over 40 years, helped win over $100 million in verdicts and settlements for victims of gun violence, created groundbreaking precedent that holds gun companies accountable for the contribution to gun violence.
Hey, Josh. Hope you're having a wonderful day, young man.
Reformed dangerous gun industry practices, and shut down reckless gun dealers. He won the first appellate decision holding that the U.S. gun industry protection law is unconstitutional. That's the PLCAA. Again, button up. I'm about to connect it all. And the first settlement in which a gun manufacturer paid for a criminal shooting. So this is the whole point. This guy, Jonathan Lowy, founded Global Action on Gun Violence. Global Action on Gun Violence is the organization that was involved in the Mexico lawsuit, $10 billion to break all of the gun companies in the United States because they tried to circumvent the PLCAA. The PLCAA is what they're talking about right here. He won the first appellate decision holding that the U.S. gun industry protection law is unconstitutional. That's the point. That's why he's the point guy, because he went after the PLCAA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. Now, remember this name, Global Action on Gun Violence, okay? Our supporters for Global Action on Gun Violence, they play a critical role in fulfilling our mission to reduce the global harm from guns by using litigation and human rights strategies to reform dangerous gun industry practices.
Guys, and SOR, you are right. It's about confiscation with all of this. The reason I'm showing this is because people need to realize all the puzzle pieces, we know them. We know all the puzzle pieces with this. And there's a reason why I'm showing this over here first.
Look at the names I have highlighted. Everytown for Gun Safety, Open Society Foundations. That last one is George frickin' Soros, the same guy who's paid for the anti-justice DAs, the progressive DAs across the nation that led to everyone being non-arrested. That's George Soros, Open Society Foundation. He's funding the left. Everytown for Gun Safety? Yeah. Yeah, the same ones. Now, let me show you something else on the global team. Remember that video that I showed you at the very beginning that was so gross with the AI animated kid? Yeah, if I go back to the teams, if I scroll down, would you look at that? Manuel Oliver. That looks like this guy being arrested for disrupting Congress. Same guy right there. Manuel Oliver is the father of Joaquin Oliver, who was killed with an assault weapon in the mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida on February 14th, 2018. Manny immigrated from Parkland to Venezuela and has dedicated himself to giving a voice to his son with bold activism, creative campaigns, art, and global outreach. Now, keep in mind, remember that group that I told you about?
Guys, and I'm going to say this now. This will be clipped up. I need to get me an assistant to start clipping this shit up for me. But this will be clipped. I have clips that I need to make. But this is why I do this. There are things that I show over here. And SOR, you're exactly right. And Josh, you're right. You are absolutely right. But now do you understand why sometimes it might be close to 3 hours that I'm doing this? Because there are things that I'm going to take my time with. This is one of them.
About last night in that disgusting video? He and his wife, Patricia Oliver, founded a nonprofit advocacy group, Change the Ref, that empowers young people to speak out against gun violence. That's the group that did the video around a child cancer patient getting shot in school. That's the same organization that animated their dead son for a fake interview with Jim Acosta. All of this is tied together. Okay? Now, let me show you the rest of this. Jonathan Lowy, this is Everytown Law. This is from Everytown for Gun Safety's website. Jonathan Lowy, special litigation advisor to Everytown Law, also serves as president of Global Action on Gun Violence, which he founded in 2022. 2022. Remember that number. Global Action on Gun Violence is not affiliated with Everytown. He formerly served as chief counsel at Brady Gun Control Group, Everytown, but he's not affiliated with Everytown, except for that one little part where the company that he founded has their supporters, Everytown for Gun Safety, under philanthropic partners. That means they get money. So this little lie that they just put forward, Everytown is not affiliated with them, lie. All right. Remember that number 2022? I'm just going to keep on going, just blowing this whole thing apart. The government of Mexico files a second lawsuit to combat illicit arms trafficking. This is the Secretary of Exterior Relations right there on the 10th of October, 2022. Okay. The government of Mexico today filed a new lawsuit in the U.S. District Court in Tucson, Arizona against 5 Arizona gun dealers. The lead lawyers for the Mexican government's legal strategy are Steve Shadowin of Shadowin PLLC in Austin, Texas, and Jonathan Lowy of Global Action on Gun Violence in D.C. So now Jonathan Lowy is tied to Mexico. He's tied to Everytown for Gun Safety through this right here. He's tied to George Soros, Open Societies Foundation, and you remember that that time frame of when he started, according to Everytown for Gun Safety, 2022. Well, would you look at that? October 10th, 2022, Mexico filed their lawsuit. He's running the Mexican lawsuit of $10 billion to destroy the gun manufacturers in an attempt to circumvent the PLCAA after he was chief counsel at Brady Gun Control Group. Oh, and also, by the way, same organization that did this little nougat. Where'd it go? Here we go. This lawsuit right here that was filed by this guy right here, Manuel, the father of the kid who was reanimated. They were actually filing and saying that the Second Amendment was a violation of human rights in the United States. One more thing for you. This is a quote from Jonathan Lowy. It is far easier and far more efficient to stop the crime gun pipeline at its source and turn off the spigot, said Jonathan Lowy, president on Global Action on Gun Violence and longtime litigator against the gun industry who has worked this case on behalf of the Mexican government. Everything that I just showed you is all sourced. Everything. From the idea that they are tying together with the individual groups Change the Ref, which are disgusting videos around childhood cancer and then being shot in schools after they're in remission, which is just disgusting. Animating dead children to talk and robocall Congress, and then they're suing to say that the Second Amendment is against the human rights, even though it's our rights in the Constitution. He led the Mexican lawsuit for $10 billion. In the same year they founded it, the same year they got Mexico to do this. And at the end of the day, you have the entire thing saying that it's all about cutting the guns off at the spigot. I just showed you in 12 minutes all the disgusting nature of these people. George Soros is behind this. Everytown is behind this. Jonathan Lowy is behind this. The people who are involved in these disgusting videos are behind this. All of it is tied back to the unifying principle of gun control and taking the rights away from an entire population. That's what I've got for you guys. I hope I landed this plane. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.
Did he land the plane? Guys, we're dealing with evil. We're dealing with evil with all of this. You and me both, SOR. I live in Alabama, believe me.